more new business item, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Cornwall Community Hospital, transfer histology department to Ottawa. Moved by Councillor Andre Rivette. Whereas the Cornwall Community Hospital is central to serving the health needs of the residents of the Cornwall and surrounding areas. Whereas the City of Cornwall has given more than $10 million for construction of the new hospital to keep medical services local. Whereas 2 years ago, the Cornwall Community Hospital transferred the microbiology analysis to Ottawa. Whereas the Cornwall Community Hospital is now planning on transferring the histology department to Ottawa. Whereas this will delay treatment for local residents. Whereas 8 hospital employees will lose their job. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Cornwall requests that the Cornwall Community Hospital provide information on the reasons for the transfer and impact on the local population of the transfer of the histology department to Ottawa. Seconded by Councillor Glenn Grant.
Councillor, moved by Councillor Rivette, seconded by Councillor Glenn Grant. Councillor Rivette?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I heard about this. It's very disturbing because speaking with the Dr. Paul knew nothing about this. And that really scares me because he's in control of the health of our communities in the areas. Microbiology is a full-service department. It's transferred to Ottawa. And that was in 2013. And it doesn't sound, you say, well, yeah, but if you have a swab for a strep throat or infection, it has to go to Ottawa to get checked. And then it comes back. So, the gentleman who I was talking to this week says, my daughter went to the hospital, she thought she had a bladder infection, they checked her, sent her home. A week later on Saturday morning, she's called, yes, she has a bladder infection. I mean, this is just one of the situations I talk about. All these tests are awaiting results from the Ottawa for proper antibiotics to treat the patients. Some doctors are giving antibiotics before results are received, as waiting time is too long, resulting in sometimes overuse of antibiotics. Histology is the one they're moving at the end of July. It will be no longer a full-service department by the end of July. So basically, this stuff is all what I'm told is to deal with cancer surgery, colon, breast cancer. They put this on and they got to send it down there to get it checked before you can get a result from it. All these specimens are going to be shipped to Ottawa Delivery Service, and patients will be awaiting their results due to prolonged turnaround times for proper diagnosis and treatment. Shipment to Ottawa increases the risk of loss or damage or specimens, as well as greater risk of mix-up of these specimens. I think, Mr. Mayor, this is very concerning to the community, and it is concerning to me that we given them $8.4 million, the correction I had, $8.4 million when we did the hunt. When we donated to that hospital, and not only the community donated a lot of money, Mr. Mayor, you were involved in the fundraising, I think it was close to $12 million. We were funding a fully operational hospital. And now this thing is being taken apart. And it doesn't make any sense. And that's why I'd like to know, Mr. I don't know if you want to invite them to come to us to explain to council why these actions are being taken when I'm being told that they're going to make room for Tim Hortons in there. I got a problem with that. This is important stuff. And when I'm being told that this department was not even in the plans when the new one was built, that's disturbing. So I think, Mr. Mayor, and the end result is loss of full service where we are trying to get doctors here. If you haven't got the services that's being transferred now, you're not going to get any doctors from here because they got to wait too long for some of this stuff that's going on. You're looking at job losses, less government grants due to less services, increased risk of error resulting in poor patient care, increase in wait times for patients' results, and appropriate treatment. Now, that's not why we funded close to $20 million in the community for a hospital. When this stuff is going on, to me, it's going to be just like a glorified healthcare center. That's basically what it's going to be. Because if we're going to draw doctors and specialists, we need to have these services remain in the city. And Mr. Mayor, once they come to us, if they got a problem with money, then we have to take a look, see whether or not maybe they're fundraising in the wrong areas. I don't know. So I think it's important that we get answers, and I hope that the council support having the hospital board or whoever's making a decision for this come back and explain to us the reasons why these things are being done. Thank you.
Councillor Sampson, followed by Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hate to continue adding to the fire, but sometimes at the end of last year, I was approached by a team of retired nurses who, the same type of idea. They were very, very upset that we had a top heart specialist here in Cornwall. There was even volunteer time on the weekend, and we lost him to Sarnia. When I approached the CAO, she said it was hospital politics. I think we should be informed. The people of Cornwall deserve to have the best people here, and the senior nurses are quite upset that we lost someone in that capacity to Sarnia. So I hope we do get answers and add that to this list also. We deserve it, we demand it, we're paying all kind of money. We're paying $25,000 a year, if I'm right, to bring new doctors in to help them study. Yet what happens? We get them, we lose them over hospital politics. I don't like it. I want some answers also. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we're all aware of the constraints placed on hospital budgets, and I don't want to make a speech about it, but since this resolution calls for information, I wonder if I can add a couple of other specifics to the call for information. Because I heard about a year ago that stroke rehab, for example, was no longer conducted here in Cornwall, that a person who has had a stroke goes to Alexandria for the rehab. That was one instance. So I would like to know, say in the last 10 years, and I know healthcare has been moving out of the hospital into the community, so that can account for some losses or some closure of some departments. I'd like to know which departments or which services that were performed here 10 years ago in our hospital system are no longer, and how many beds we had 10 years ago when we had 2 fully functioning hospitals, and how many we have currently, and how much staff has been laid off in the last 10 years. So a 10-year snapshot of the changes, just plain information, like what's no longer done here, and who's no longer working here, and then how many beds we no longer service.
This by way of an amendment.
Please.
Seconder. Sampson, okay. Any further discussion on the amendment? Councillor Claymont, followed by Councillor Gardner or Grant. Sorry, Councillor Grant was next on the list. Please.
Go ahead.
No, please, Councillor, no, please.
Go ahead. Ladies first.
Councillor Grant, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I supported this one. Councillor Rivette opposed me. Economic Development Committee, we're looking at to attract professionals into our community, and these actions were driving them away. And not only did we drive them away, we always talk about our per capita income in our community, and these are well-paid jobs that are being sent to another community. So I think it's imperative that we do get this information. I like the amendment that Councillor McDonald suggested, that we get this information and we start holding somebody's feet to the fire and get some answers for this. So I welcome, hopefully, the invitation that Mrs. Devati come here to the meeting and get some explanations, because I think we need it as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else have my list? Councillor Gardner follows Councillor Claymont, please. I'm sorry. Councillor Claymont and Councillor Gardner.
Our hospital is of critical importance to this city, not only as an employer, but as a caretaker of the community's health and well-being. And I've often wondered, why it is that we don't, that their board doesn't touch base with us more regularly on what's going on at the hospital. Not just because we give money, but because they're central to the city's well-being, the region's well-being. So, on this sale of the old hospital, for instance, we had a press release telling us that it was sold. Again, that's something that is close to the heart of this community. What's happening with that, what's going on. That would, I think, have been something that a board member or CEO could have usefully come to City Council and given us a briefing on what's going on. So, I'm respectful of the work that the hospital does in a tight budget, and I have great respect for the board members. But I think that it's useful we have them come to me more regularly to keep us up to date on issues like what Councillor Rivette has raised on the histology department moving. That's significant. The sale of the old hospital, what does that mean? That's significant. So I hope that we do invite them, and I hope that they do accept the invitation to come and talk to us and make that a more regular occurrence. I like that Councillor Rivette or Councillor Rep sits on the Eastern Ontario Health Unit. It'd be interesting to have the hospital come and speak to us more regularly as well.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner, followed by Councillor Carr.
I'm just going to repeat one of them. That's loss of jobs. That really bothered me. And good paying jobs, as Councillor Grant said. But also the provincial funding that we're losing. When we start sending our services to Ottawa, and when we start sending our patients to Winchester, to Ottawa, to Alexandria, we're starting to lose provincial funding, which means it's even tighter here. The last issue that I have is how do they prioritize any tests that are going to Ottawa? Does Ottawa go first and Cornwall second? How do they prioritize that? Are we just, as we come in, we're done, or are we waiting for our test until the Ottawa people are done first? So that's another answer that I'd like. As in terms of lost beds to Alexandria, there were 8 that went from the Cornwall Hospital to I forget the word you use, but folks that need extra help after their operations. There were 8 beds that were sent in.
Councillor Carr, please.
Thank you, Worship. Several years ago, there was a system whereby the City Council was represented on the board of the hospital. I think you were on the board one time. You also had a seat on the board at the time, the General and the Hotel Du, as well as St. Joseph's Villa. And maybe that's something we should offer the hospital again. The community hospital say, okay, we'd like to go back to the practice of Cornwall Council naming a representative, sit on the board, so we can be aware of these situations as they come up, and maybe we can offer some assistance and some help when they have these difficult decisions to make. So I think that, if you don't mind, that's the motion. Thank you.
That's part of the amendment also?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, point of information.
Councillor Gardner?
There are 4 seats now open on the hospital board for 4 people.
The deadline is April 18th.
All right, so I'll put my name forward. April 18th, I'd like to do that.
Any further discussion on the amendments? All those in